Hi everyone, it's Johnny Haircut here again, and today I'm going to be doing the 2019 vinyl tag. This is a bit of a last minute video. I was inspired by the shout out I got from Graham at Cracking Vinyl. Thank you very much, Graham. Huge appreciation for that. I thought, why not, I'll get involved. So I've rattled together a list of things to show, and I've got the questions in front of me here. And so I'm going to try and get this done and dusted as quickly as possible. I've just got home from work, so if I pass out from tiredness halfway through a sentence or start yawning, then please accept my apologies. So yeah, I'm not going to go into massive details about most of the stuff I'm going to show. Hopefully we can keep this short and sweet, quick and dirty as it was. So we shall begin, shall we? So first question number one is the best find of 2018. And that would have to be this version of Lou Reed's Transformer, which I got from a charity shop for a couple of pounds, and it is a not quite a first edition release, but it's near as. It's a very early 70s British edition, and it's in fantastic condition. It's unbelievably in good condition, and I was quite amazed that they just put it at the standard price that they have for most of their other stuff in this said charity shop. I don't feel too bad about getting it at a bargain price. I mean, I have put a lot of money their way over the last couple of months, and normally I think they have somebody in store that kind of must check these things. It's the same place where they had the Zentrix album for 15 quid and a blues album. I made a video about it anyway, Rare Records in the Wild I think it's called. So yeah, they're normally on the ball when it comes to pricing, but this one got through, so I was very happy to pick this up for, I think it was £2.50 maybe, or £2, I can't quite remember. So under question number two, a shout out to another VC channel. I'd be a bit remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my homie Mark G with a C. He's not exactly a tiny channel anymore, but somebody who is a tiny channel I discovered the other day. What I sometimes do is I go onto YouTube and I just search like vinyl haul or record collection or vinyl community and filter by upload date, and you sometimes find new videos by new channels that way, and I always like to subscribe to them. And what I discovered was Crow TV. He only uploaded a video a couple of days ago, I think maybe last week. He has one subscriber, that's me, and it looks really good. He was just going through his record collection. He's only got 2 videos up at the moment, so go and check him out. I'll obviously put a link down below. Okay, holes to fill. I'm fighting the urge to say something crass. Your mama! Okay, so there's loads. I've still not got Led Zeppelin 1, I've still not got the Stone Roses album. I don't own any Neil Young albums on vinyl, which is ludicrous. I don't own any Half Man Half Biscuit, and I don't own any Fall albums. So amongst many others, there'd be like ones that I'm looking out for, and of course Elliott Smith albums would be very nice. Some more Zappa albums would be very nice as well. Alright, question number 4, cheap but good. Well, I mean, I'm a bit of a sucker for James Last, I'm going to have to say. And things like Hammond organ albums, Moog or Moog albums, I'm always on the lookout for. The sort of Jeff Love Orchestra, the sort of cheesy listening sort of thing. I think with when it comes to, in the UK anyway, looking around charity shops, because you so rarely find stuff that's kind of like classic rock or pop or anything like that, it does help if you kind of broaden your sort of expectations a little bit, and maybe, you know, if it's only a couple of quid, why not just try something? You don't know what you're going to find. I often find there's loads of classical records out there. I mean, it's criminal the way these albums just get ignored, and you know, just for a couple of pounds you could be experiencing some of the greatest music ever made. Same with jazz, really. I think that kind of gets a bit overlooked when people are, you know, pricing things up. So yeah, I mean, country music, it's not something I'm into really, but I know a lot of people are. You never know what you're going to find, and it's worth just taking a punt on a couple of quid. Just find something that looks a bit wacky, and you don't know what you're going to get. Maybe something fantastic. I know like James Last isn't quality music, but I like the way he orchestrates pop hits anyway. So question number 5, a side project album. This is a bit of a tricky one to think about, but I did come up with one. I got David Byrne and Brian Eno, My Life in the Bush of Ghosts. There we go. This is from the early 80s, and very experimental. Right, number 6, an uncharacteristic record stroke song. I'm going to go with this one from Ultravox! Exclamation mark. Now, if you know anything about Ultravox, you're probably thinking skinny ties, shirts, synths, strings, you know, lush, you know, sort of slick 80s synth pop. Well, they started out as a punk band, And this is extremely punk. This is like 2 minutes of just pure rage. And it's got John Fox on it. He was the singer before Midge Ure. Midge Ure isn't even in this. It's got Chris Cross, Billy Currie and Warren Gunn and Stevie Shears. So yeah, Autobox, we're a punk band. The last album I bought was, got this last week, Japan, Exercising Ghosts. This is a double album compilation comprising tracks from their early first few albums. This is only a couple of quid. There was a guy in the market, he had a box full of, he had some really good stuff. Unfortunately I was in one of those positions where I didn't have a lot of cash on me and I didn't have enough time to nip off to the cash machine. I was on my lunch hour and I was like, how much are the records? And they were like, oh, they're all £2. So of course I bought the one double album he had. Hopefully it's going to be there again next week. I shall go back and grab some more. Okay, number 8, a great album with a bad cover. I'm going to make another video about this particular one, so I won't go into too much detail here. This is Electric Banana, the 70s. Now if you saw this in a charity shop, you'd probably think this was one of those tacky, top of the pop style, you know, not top of the pop style compilations. But this is actually the Pretty Things, under another name. For reasons I'm not entirely sure. I think they recorded sort of, from as far as I can tell, they recorded sort of background music, library music, which was used in softcore porn films and horror films in the 60s under the name Electric Banana. And but this is not that kind of music. This is just more like the Pretty Things. This is kind of blues rock. It's got Mickey Finn, Phil May, Pete Tolson, Gordon Edwards, John Povey, Chico Greenwood, Brian Johnson, Bill Lovelady. But I shall go into. I'm planning to go into more detail about this soon. But yeah, look at that cover. Okay, and a bad album with a good cover. I've shown this one before. I don't like calling things a bad album because I know it's all sort of it's all relative, isn't it? But I'm going to pick Spirogyra, Morning Dance, one of my favourite album covers. But as I said before, you may be expecting some sort of psych or folk, but no, this is jazz fusion. So yeah, nothing like the music contained within. Which, if you like Spirogyra, I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying it's not my cup of tea. Right, where are we now? Number 10, a blues album. I have one blues album, and it's Clarence Gatemouth Brown. Gates on the Heat. The House of Blues, Volume 3. This is on Blue Star Records. Okay, an earworm. My latest earworm for the last couple of weeks at work anyway has been the opening riff from White Stripes' Seven Nation Army. For some reason I can't get that out of my head. It's a good thing to have in your head when you're doing a job at work. Right, okay, number 12, historically important. Okay, I've gone with Colorbox, who went on to become half of Mars with A. Arcane. I don't have anything on vinyl of Mars. This is their one and only single, Pump Up the Volume. Why is this historically significant? Well, in the UK, this was the first record to go to #1, which was made entirely of samples from other people's music. Of course, that opened the floodgates, for better or for worse, for most of the music we know today, samples and reusing other bits of other artists' work. But this is great anyway, in its own right. So, regardless of what you think about sampling in music, I think they did a good job on this one. I think technically you could say Paul Hardcastle's 19, which also used samples, came out earlier, but that was not exactly samples of other people's music, it was samples from a documentary. Right, ooh, I've covered up my list. Number 13, a record I own because of my parents. Right, my parents didn't own that many records. I think I've mentioned before that they had Beethoven, Beethoven's 6th Symphony, but they also had some Roy Orbison. And this one's for James Griffiths. He said he was, in a message he sent me, he was collecting Roy Orbison on Monument. Yeah, this is Roy Orbison's greatest hits on Monument. When did this come out? This is from 1967. And of course it's got The Crowd, Love Star, Crying, Evergreen, Running Scared, Mama, Candyman, Only the Lonely, Dream Baby, Blue Angel, Uptown and I'm Hurtin'. So, a record I own because of my parents. their copy of Roy Orbison's Greatest Hits. Right, dollar bin find. Okay, unfortunately we don't have dollar bins in the UK. I wish we did. I think it works out about 78p a record, so yeah, unfortunately we don't. But we do have cheapola pound shops, no, we do have charity shops, which is where I get most of my records from. But two I've picked out, which were probably absolute bargains for £1. Creedence Clearwater Revival, Greatest Hits. 20 absolutely fantastic songs for me, some Creedence. And probably the best £1 I've spent all year was on this one. Oscar Peterson, Plays Your Own Kern. Unbelievably good. Yeah, worth every penny and more. A double album. My favourite double album is Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti. I don't have a copy of it, so I've just pulled out two double albums of note. This one is the soundtrack to American Graffiti. I'm a huge fan of rock and roll, early rock and roll. This has got tons and tons and tons of them on it. Yeah? Chuck Berry. It's got Chuck Berry on it. It's got the Platters, the Fleetwoods, the Heatwaves, Frankie Avalon, the Joey D and Starlighters, Buddy Holly, Fats Domino, Booker T and the MGs. If you've seen the film, you probably know the tunes. And also Zappa in New York. This isn't the one with Punky's Whips on it, unfortunately, which is worth quite a lot of money. It does still have Punky's Whips written on the credits. Where were we looking there? Bing, 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 but it's not actually on the records, unfortunately. Right, we're looking through these, aren't we? Okay, an album from the VC. Okay, an album which I probably wouldn't have picked up unless John Bellamy pointed out and said you should go back and get it. Jose Feliciano. And his album Feliciano, exclamation mark. This is really good, a great find. Thank you, JB. Right, a 10-inch album. I've made a whole 2 videos about these. These are my jazz haul of 10 inches. This is probably my favourite of the lot. Red Norval Trio. Right, a 7-inch. I got a couple here. These are something else I picked up last week. So these are new for me, for a whopping 10p each. And I know that Cracking Vinyl likes a bit of this band. I think Matt Hayes as well, maybe has mentioned them. It's a Transvision Vamp. This is the Landside of Love. This is the Landside of Love, and of course probably their biggest single, I think, in the UK anyway. Baby I Don't Care. Right, so that's it for things to show. Okay, to number 19, a album to fall asleep to. I'm one of those people that can't really fall asleep listening to most music. I find it just too stimulating, and you know, keeps my brain too active. I think, like a lot of people nowadays, I like to fall asleep listening to podcasts, and you know, the sound of a voice. I help. But one album which I do really like to chill out to and relax, which I don't actually own a physical copy of, is called SETI. S-E-T-I, as in Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. I will put a link down below. It's ambient music, and another artist which I really like to listen to when I'm chilling out is the Bing Satellites. Again, I don't own anything by them physically. This is all stuff I listen to using my phone in the dark. And an artist called Deru, who I'm going to be mentioning again in another video soon. Alright, question number 20, VC experience. So that would have to be the VCLT I received from John Bellamy. Still absolutely blown away by his generosity. I'd only been making videos for a month or two at that point, so that was great. And in general, just the way that I started making videos a year ago, yeah, pretty much a year ago this month. And as you may have noticed, I don't only do vinyl albums. I like to write videos about anything that takes my fancy, really. But I've always just got some great feedback. I mean, one of the things that I think potentially puts people off about making videos is they just assume that as soon as you upload a video, hundreds of people are going to just make derogatory comments and rip the piss out of you and hound you off, but that has not been the case whatsoever. I mean, I guess it's just the fact that I'm not on anybody's radar. But yeah, everyone's been super duper kind. I mean, comments, every time I get a comment, you know, I'm not that great at commenting, I'll have to admit. I often wish I could be a bit more sort of, you know, I'm just not the sort of person that likes to type stuff on the computers. I don't know why it is. But when I do like when I can think of something to reply to, I obviously will, and I will always appreciate any comments I get, and when I can I will comment on other people's videos, something I'm working on. So yeah, just the whole experience has been so far so good. In fact, so far better than I could have expected, really. I don't really know what I expected. I've got many reasons. Well, I've got a couple of reasons why I started making videos, which I might go into more detail on another video one day. But long story short, I basically needed another hobby, something to keep me occupied, and so I was combining my love of editing and being creative and music, and I thought I'd do these videos. So it's been a very good experience all round. And the second half of this question is some advice. Well, I've only been doing this a year, so I'm not exactly in a position to give tons of advice anyway, but one thing I will say as someone who's been watching a lot of YouTube for many years, is if you're thinking of making videos, a bit of technical advice would be just make sure that if you're talking to a camera, people can hear what you're saying. So, and if you're going to be showing things, people can see what you're showing. So, you know, don't film videos in the dark, don't put your camera half a mile away so people can't hear what you're saying. Yeah, if you don't worry about lighting, if you've got a window, making sure you're sat facing the window and not in front of the window, that's a big help. And if you're making a video on your phone, yeah, landscape is good. You know, try not to do things in portrait. I mean, it's just impractical if you've got a very narrow area of shots and you're trying to, you know, you're trying to hold up something. No one's going to be able to see it, are they? So I think I'm also going to make a video about my 1 year experience of making videos, so I'll maybe go into a bit more detail with, like, I don't know, tips and just things I've learned, you know, from doing it. So I would say if you're thinking of making a video, absolutely go and do it. Why not? What we've got to lose, you know. Make a video, watch it back as well. That's probably another tip before you upload it. I've seen videos where people have put them on and you just think, did they not watch that before they uploaded it to see that it was, you know, like, I don't know, completely dark or whatever. I know sometimes you can be a bit late at night and you try and get things done, but yeah, just watch it before you actually upload it. And what else was I going to say about that? Oh, and just make videos about whatever you want. Don't think just because loads of people make videos about you know, classic rock and 60s and 70s bands, that, and if that's not your taste in music, then don't let that stop you from making videos. You know, make videos about what you like, because it'll just be more interesting. You'll find people out there who have similar interests, no matter how niche they are. I mean, one of the criteria I use when I'm deciding who to subscribe to and watch is I just try to think, well, you know, do I want to spend 10-15 minutes in this person's company? For whatever reason, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the loudest and funniest and brashest and wackiest people in the room, because that's not always what you want. You may not be in the mood for that. You may be in the mood just for someone who can just talk about a subject that you find interesting. You know, it doesn't have to be like super high quality production standards or anything like that. So, you know, give it a go. You know, you have nothing to lose. I've been in this for a year now, so like I'm lecturing people already. Alright, okay, so I said this is going to be brief. Where are we on now? 20 minutes? Okay, we'll wrap things up, and I'll see you pretty soon in another video where my hair will miraculously have got longer. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Nah, 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 nah.